Okay, so this is lab 2. This is lab 2 for our VB assignment. So I'll head on to creating the new project. So I'll click on create new project. So I'll select the language. It's already at Visual Basic, but for those who don't have it selected, I'll select it again. So I'll select the language, I'll select the platform, and then I'll select the type of application. So desktop. So you are doing a Windows form app. So I select this one and click next. I'll name the lab. So this is lab 2. And then it's weekend um, Appleton Johnson. Okay. So hit next. And hit create. Okay, so our forms is up and running. Our forms is up and running. So let's go to the question. So this is the design we are supposed to achieve from this question. You see that the text inside this text box is aligned to the left. This one is also aligned to the left. The text here is aligned to the right. This is also aligned to the right. This aligned to the right. All these are aligned to the right. You see that there are some two hotkeys over here. So E is a hotkey, W is a hotkey, R, T, and then X, and C is also a hotkey. D is a hotkey, and then P is also a hotkey over here. But for the output, there are no hotkeys over here. So we will implement the hotkeys too. When you look at the design, you see that there is this group box for part information. So within the part information, there are these two labels and these two text boxes. There's another group box over here with the title price, cost, storage, and profit with these labels and these text boxes. These three text boxes are output text boxes, and you see that they are grayed out, meaning they are read-only text boxes. And then these are all buttons. So we design the forms in this manner and make sure that those that I said are implemented before we look through the lab itself to add certain things we left out. So I'll do the top part, which is a group box, two labels, and then two text boxes. go to my toolbox. if if you can't find any control, you can search for it over here. So I'm searching for a group box, so I type group and it suggests to me. So I with a group box. So let's look at the form. You see that it is a little bit thinner than what we have. So I'll use the form itself a bit, and then okay. So I have two labels for the top part. Come to my toolbox, cancel this and pick a label. So this particular group box has the title part information. So I'll change it. I can right click on the group box and choose properties and change the fore color from black to this color. You see that the label also changed, so I have to also change this one. I have to change the fore color back to this. So I have the group box with this. So when you look at the forms too, you see that the group box has part information as the name, sorry, as the text, as the title over here. So it means I have to select the group box and change the text property, which is part information. This has already been done in the Lab1, so this shouldn't be a problem. So I'll change the label to part identifier, and since P is a hotkey, I'll bring ampersand before the letter P. So ampersand and then P, part identifier. So it has a colon, so I'll add the colon before I do the next one. So I'll come here and add a colon to it. Okay, so I have another text box at the right, so I have a text box. Select it and bring it here. Make sure it is aligned properly and stretch the text box. Okay, so what I'll do is to copy the two of them, click and drag, so you can click and drag from anywhere and push the box around the two, so it selects the two. Okay, so I can hit Ctrl C and then Ctrl V to copy both of them and paste both of them. So I can place it beneath and change the text property of the first one. So it is too low. So I change the text property of the first one. Let's see what it is. Part description, and D is the hotkey. So change this to part description. So part D is a hotkey, so I'll bring the ampersand before the D. Part description. Okay. Change identifier to capital I. So I have the two text boxes. The next thing to do is another group box with price, cost, storage, and profit. Price, cost, storage, and profit. So bring another group box. Change the font color to blue. Change the text property to price. Let me confirm. Cost, storage, profit. Price separated with commas. So price, cost, storage, and then profit. Okay, so I can also copy these, the two of them, click and hold and drag the box, copy, Ctrl C, paste, Ctrl V, and drag it here. I can now reduce this text box and reduce this text box as well. So let me look at the design. Okay, so the first label is retail price, and E is the hotkey retail price. So I will change the text property for this to retail price. So E is the hotkey, so I'll bring ampersand before the E. So retail price. The next one is wholesale price. W is the hotkey. So change this one to wholesale. W is the hotkey, so I'll bring ampersand before the W. Wholesale price. Drag this one here. Drag this one here. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. The next thing is quantity. So I have quantity, and Q is also the hotkey. So I'll copy the two, Ctrl C and Ctrl V, and bring it here. Okay, so I'll change the label for this one. This one is quantity. So I change the text price. So the Q is the hotkey, so I bring ampersand before the Q. So quantity. And when you look at the text box for the quantity, realize that it's a little bit shorter to the right. So I'll reduce it from here to this side. Wholesale. So the next one is gross profit. So I have gross profit as the next one without any hotkey. So I change the text property to gross profit. So I have the final two. The next one is storage charges, and the next one is net profit. Storage charges. So I'll copy the two of the. So I have two already copied. What I'll do is to paste them. So I'll press Ctrl V to paste the two and drag it beneath. So the next one is storage charges. So storage charges. Then the last one is net profit. Okay, so you realize that the three text boxes over here are read only, so I'll change them to read only, and all of these are aligned to the right. The two here are aligned to the left, so I'll select this one, change the where text align, so I'll change text align. It's already at the left, so I'll leave it at the left. This one is also at the left. Okay, so I'll change this one to right, 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 then the last one also to right. Okay, so I have the text align done, and I have to make the three of these a read only text box. So I'll select this one, search for read only, and make it true. Search for this one, read only, and make it true. Search for this one, read only, and make it true. Okay, so what I'll deal with right now is the 4 buttons over here. The C is a hotkey, R, T, and then X are all hotkeys. So come to my toolbox and search for a button. Bring this one here, open it a bit, and change the text property from button 1 to display. And D is a hotkey, so I'll bring the ampersand before I type display. Check the next one. The next one is reset RS. Sorry, that button is compute instead of display. So C is the hotkey, so compute instead of display. So let me change it. So C is a hotkey, so compute. I can copy and then paste. I can paste. Let me bring this a bit to the top, a bit to the top. I can paste the last one. Okay, so the second one is I think reset. Yes, reset form. So change the text property to reset form. R is the hotkey, so I'll bring this one before that. Then the next one is total net profit. So change this one and check the hotkey. T is the hotkey, so ampersand before the T, so total net profit. Okay, so the last one is exit, and then X is the hotkey, So I'll change this one to, since X is the hotkey, ampersand before the X, and then okay. So I have these also done. Okay, so what I forgot is to also change the title bar over here from uh, Form 1 to Repair Part Profit Estimator. Repair Part Profit Estimator. Repair Part Profit Estimator. Okay, so which is the form itself. Change the test property. So repair part the profit, let me confirm, profit estimator. Okay, so from the lab 1 we are supposed to add by whatever by our name, so I add it by Appleton Johnson. Okay, so I have our form design. I have our form designed. So from here I'll try and go by what the question really says, so that we don't miss anything. We do it according to what is required over here. So from the question it says we should use group box label, text box, button controls are shown in the figure. Yes, we have done that. And then we should make sure the left and right align data as shown in the figure. So in the figure you should make sure that the ones that are left aligned, these two text boxes, and the ones that are right aligned, all these are done properly, and we have done that too. It says the output controls in the price, cost, and cost information group box, gross profit. So those are those text boxes, gross profit, storage charges, and net profit, are set to read only, and we did that too. But it says we should set it to read only and tab stop should be false. So we didn't do for the tab stop, but we did for the read only. So let's go back to the application. For this one we change the tab stop to false. Change the tab stop for this one to false, and then the last one also to false. Move on to the next thing. It says the tab order must be top to bottom and left to right within the group box controls. So the tab stop, the tab key, the tab order must be from top to bottom within the group box. So for this one we only have top and bottom, but for this one, okay, sorry, so from top to bottom and then from left to right. So it moves here, moves here, moves here, 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 before it comes here, and then here, there, and then here. So that is what we are supposed to do. So I'll make sure that the order is very okay. So this text box has an index of 1. It is okay. This one has 3, so let me change it to 2. This one has 4. This one is supposed to be 3, so this one is 1, 2. This one 3. Change this one to 4. Change this one to 5. Change this one to 6. And since the tab stop has been set for these 3, changing it, making it in order doesn't necessarily mean that the tab key will affect this one. So this one too, 9, this one 10, this one 11, this one will be 12. Okay, so we have that one too also done. The next thing is to make sure that the compute the total net profit and exit button controls are enabled on startup. The reset form button control is disabled on startup. So on startup, the reset button is disabled, but the other three are enabled. So on startup, the reset button is disabled. So I'll scroll to a property called, I select reset form, scroll to a property called enabled. So I'll change this one to false. Okay, so but the other three are enabled. So the next one is the label and button controls must have hotkeys as indicated in the figure. We have done that for the hotkeys. It says you should map the compute button control to the enter key and map the reset form button control to the escape key. So compute to enter, reset to escape. So I'll select the form itself. So first of all, let me change the names of the controls over here. So I'll change this one. I'll scroll to the bottom, change it to part identifier text box. So I have part identifier text box. Change the second one to part description text box. Change this one to retail price text box. Change this one to wholesale price text box. So wholesale price text box. Change this one to quantity text box. Change this one to gross profit text box. Change this one to storage charges text box. Change this one to net profit text box. Change this button to compute button. Change this one to reset button, reset form button, reset form button. Change this one to total net profit button. And change the last one to exit button. Okay, so the question said that we should map the compute button to the enter key, reset form button to the escape key. So I'll click on the forms itself, scroll to accept button. So accept button is for the enter key. I move here, it was supposed to be assigned to the compute button, and then the cancel button is for the escape key, mapped to the reset form button. So we have done that too. Okay, so the next one is to add a two-tip control to the form. Develop your own two-tip advice to be displayed for the retail price wholesale cost, and quantity text box controls. So we are applying a tooltip for the text box controls, and then those text box controls are the price, wholesale, and quantity. The retail price, wholesale cost, and quantity. But we are developing our own tooltip advice. So retail price, wholesale cost, and quantity. So I have this one, and that one. So I'll go to my toolbox, search for tooltip, drag it onto my form. Since it is showing here, it means it has been applied to my form. It won't show anything on the form itself. So since it's here, so what I'll do is I'll click on this text box, scroll to the bottom. I see tooltip on tooltip 1 over here. So what message am I going to show? Type or enter the retail price. Come to this one, another tooltip, enter the wholesale price. And then the quantity, enter the quantity. The message can be any message. It all depends on you. So let's run the program and see, or before that, let's see if we have any other thing to do. So we have done this. Okay, so the next part is the coding requirements. So let's run the program and see if everything is working okay. So I run the program. Okay, so the reset form is disabled, but the compute, the total net, the exit is enabled. If I press the Alt key, you see that the tooltips are showing. So that one is also working. If I type here, you see that it is aligned to the left. This one is also aligned to the left. This one is aligned to the right, to the right, to the right. Okay, so that one is also good. And what again? You see the title bar also functioning here. Okay, so we are done for now. The next part is the coding requirements. Take care of that in the next video.